Hey guys, it is the 10th of August and I'm going to do an investment report update on my crypto positions in Bitcoin and Ether. So let me just first bring you to the spreadsheet where I've added three columns. Here is the net value, and this refers to the current value of my investments. And then here is the dollar gain and loss of the investments, and here is the percentage gain and loss of the investments based on the $10,000 notional $10,000 that I'm looking to allocate across my crypto positions. So let me just update the Bitcoin and Ether price. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. The current price is 46,109. So I'll update this here. Okay, and let's take a look at the current Ether price, 31.47. Okay, so my current two positions are thankfully in a profit. And now let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart to see if I want to add on to my current position. So very simple. I want to draw a trend line here. This is just very basic technical analysis. And we can see that the market price has decisively broken above this trend line. So the downtrend may be over and we may be in a new uptrend. Okay, so I don't want again to think too much about when I enter, but let me just have a rough idea of how far the market price is currently from the all-time high. So it is about 29% from the all-time high. Okay, so I did not enter my entries below this point because for the vault method, I would usually start looking at entering somewhere 35% below the all-time high and below. Okay, so if I had followed the vault method strictly, in this case for this video, I've only entered somewhere around here. So this was still within the vault method parameters. Okay, so if I was following the vault method very strictly, then I will only be looking to enter the start scaling into my position at the 35% and higher drawdown from the all-time high. All right, so this whole area here, the non-shaded area, is where I would have been looking to enter. All right, but for the purposes of this video and for the purposes of this video series, I had entered somewhere around here, which was still within the parameters, but now the market price has rallied above 35% below the all-time high. So it's a bit it's not such a good place to enter, okay? But to stick with the theme of the vault method, I will just enter anyway because I don't want to be, again, too picky about where I take my entries. All right, so let me just enter the second half of my first batch on Bitcoin. All right, so let me update this spreadsheet, the current price, and let's say I enter right now, the current price 46,265. Okay, and again, my second batch, $1,250 for Bitcoin. And that would get me, let me do a quick calculation here. That would get me this amount of Bitcoin, okay? And I will have $6,250 left to allocate to my investment positions. Net value would be over here. Okay, gain and loss. Okay, this is not done correctly. Sorry about that. Let me update it properly. Okay, right, so that's for Bitcoin. I've now entered my second half of the first batch, so I'm fully allocated in my first batch for Bitcoin. Okay, let me just now take a look at Ethereum and see what's happening. And we can see here Ethereum has made a very strong move to the upside as well. Okay, and right now the market price of Ether is sitting at about 27% below the all-time high. So once again, normally the range with which I'm looking to enter is 35% or higher, and this is where I would be looking to enter. Okay, but once again, for the purposes of this video series and my investment report, I'm just going to be a little bit less strict on when I enter and where I enter my positions. So this looks like a good place. We are seeing a little bit of consolidation. If we look at the 4-hour chart, okay, we are seeing a little bit of consolidation on the 4-hour chart, and I don't want to be zooming in too much. Okay, the prices have moved materially away from my first entry, where I entered half of my first batch somewhere in this price range. So I'm just going to enter my second batch right now. All right, so let me update my spreadsheet again. Current market price that enter 31.58. Okay, investment $1,250, and that would get me this number of Ether. Okay, so available capital $5,000. I have allocated half of my $10,000 across Bitcoin and Ether. So my full batch right now has been fully allocated. So the net value be here. Okay. So let me just quickly update the price. Bitcoin 46,093 and Ether 31.45. Okay, so I've now allocated my full batch 1. Okay, and now there isn't much left to do but wait, because I don't want to be entering into batch 2 so quickly. All right, so hopefully the market price will keep moving up. Okay, if it doesn't, if it keeps moving down below my average price, so I will of course have to calculate what my average price is, but let me just do make an example. So let's say my average price of the first 2 entries in my batch 1, let's say for Bitcoin, is somewhere around this area. Okay, and so if the market price hovers around this area, I don't want to be entering into batch 2. All right, if the market price continues to fall, especially if it falls below this low and perhaps closer to this low here, this low of the pullback, okay, if the market price falls down here, then I will start to consider entering into my second batch. Okay, if the market price moves up, I will generally stay away because I don't want to be entering my second batch too close to the average entry price. The general idea is that I don't want my 2 batches, the average price of the 2 batches, to be too close to each other. Okay, so I'm just going to leave my batch 1 for some time for, in this case, Bitcoin. And let's take a look at Ethereum. Very similar. My average entry price was be somewhere around this area. Okay, if the market price continues to move around this area, I don't want to be entering into my second batch. I will only consider entering into the second batch if the market price moves closer towards the lows here, or if it moves higher closer to the high here. All right, so the thing about the vault method, if we recall from the first video, is that I want to make this very simple, very hands-off. So now that I have entered into my 2 batches, there's really nothing much left to do but to wait. All right, so taking a look at the weekly chart for Bitcoin and Ether, let's start with Bitcoin. Okay, so we can see it will take at least a few weeks at best for the market price to approach these highs, right? Or a few weeks at best for the markets to reach these lows. So there's probably not much left to do but to wait over the next few weeks for me to consider entering to batch 2. Same thing with Ether. Okay, it will take probably at least a few weeks to reach these highs, or at least a few weeks to reach these lows at the very minimum. All right, so I will not be posting an update until then, unless something changes or unless the situation warrants it. But generally, from what I can see at this point in time, there really isn't much to do right now. Okay, I've entered my full batch 1. Okay, I've allocated $5,000, right, into fully allocated half of my investment of $10,000. I've allocated $5,000 into the first batch. So now there's nothing left to do but to wait before entering into the second batch. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. Very simple, very I don't want to think too much about my entries as long as I'm playing the long game. Okay, let me zoom out. I'm playing the long game. I'm looking to trade the big uptrend here. All right, the small fluctuations in between here, I don't want to be too concerned about that. Same thing with Ether. The general, I'm investing in a general uptrend, and I don't want to be focusing on the small price fluctuations on the smaller time frames. Okay, so that's it for this video. We'll see how the market moves over the next few weeks, and I will update you guys accordingly. So if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter, where you will get more detailed updates of my investments and updates in the crypto industry. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.